Mr. and Mrs. Ayoade are Christians who uphold certain moral values. They are blessed with a beautiful daughter, Julian, whom they love so much and brought up in the fear of the Lord right from her childhood. Money was never a problem to the family, as Mr. Ayoade works with an oil firm. Their daughter didn't seem to lack anything, as she was given the best by her parents. Julian just returned from school with her friend Tolu, who happens to be the daughter of a family friend who relocated to the States a year back. Mrs. Ayoade was very happy to see her daughter finish her final exams.
Welcome! High school!
I'm so sorry. I'm very hungry.
You have started the food girl. Anyway, don't worry. I have something nice for you.
Okay.
Have yourself in vacation. So how are you?
I'm fine. Mom, how are you?
I'm fine,
You're
dear.
looking good.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
How's your study?
I'm doing well. Thank you, ma.
Welcome, my dear.
Tolu, I'm hungry too. Can I join you in the kitchen? Ah, this girl, you never stop.
Food girls.
Julian, what is your problem? I mean, what are you thinking?
A week after their homecoming, Mrs. Ayoade overheard both girls quarreling and exchanging words. Just as she came in from a party, she had to look threatening to tell her Julian's secret if she failed to drop her newfound eccentricity, and also said she would never support her being a lesbian.
Support you? What are you saying? For God's sake, we're talking about homosexuality here.
Well, if you can't support me, then leave me alone.
Where are you going to? I bet your mom will hear of this. It's your problem. Fix it.
Mrs. Ayoade questioned her daughter, and Julian denied all of her mother's assumptions. At this point, Julian told her mom to do her worst and doesn't mind being disowned if that is what it comes to. But she wouldn't stop from being who or what she is.
Tolu.
Mom, everything you heard is true.
What? You mean you are into homosexuality?
Julian. Mom, please, she doesn't know what she's saying. Don't mind her, please.
Jesus. Your father will disown you if he heard of it.
Please. I am tired of everyone judging me for who I choose to be with. If you and Daddy like can disown me, but as far as I'm concerned, I want to be with whoever I want to be with.
Julia!
Get back here. Mom is talking to you.
Julia!
What's wrong with you?
Hi! Jesus, this girl has killed me.
Disoriented by her daughter's unethical attitude, she sought their pastor's help, who claimed that there is a spiritual undertone to the problem, and his resolution was that Julian urgently needed prayer and deliverance.
She really does.
But I must emphasize this. This is one of the devil's plot to disorganize your family and targeting the destiny of your daughter.
Pastor, I believe so. I really believe so.
But note this. All hope is not lost. If you could bring her here for a prayer session, that's the solution for it.
Pastor, the problem is that she wouldn't come because she believed there's nothing wrong with her desire. Anyway, I will try and convince her to come.
You
with me.
better do convince her to come.
I will, sir. I will try.
Let us pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, there's nothing impossible with you and for you.
Why do I have to see a pastor when I'm not possessed?
Mrs. Ayoade tried her best to convince her daughter to visit the pastor, but Julian would have none of it, claiming that she isn't possessed and doesn't need prayers.
And I know what's good for me, so please just leave me.
I can't leave you. You are my only child, for Christ's sake. Please, honey. Please. You need to see the pastor, please.
Mrs. Ayoade is tired and frustrated as all her efforts to curb her daughter's nasty habit is turning abortive.
Hello, honey.
Hello, Jerry. How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
Good. I'll be home next week.
You mean next week?
Yes, honey.
Her most disturbing fear at the moment is her husband. She can't begin to imagine his reaction to Julian's newfound flair for lesbianism when he comes home from the street. What she's certain of, however, is that he will undoubtedly blame her as a bad mother who is unable to train her daughter right, and he will most likely disown Julian.
Homosexuality is a topic that is not usually discussed around here. Maybe because the church frowns against it, God frowns against it, and also because our laws do not support it. So it seems as though it's not happening, but it's happening right under our noses. How do we then handle it? How do we treat these people? How do we help them, know who they really are? These and many much more are going to be talking in today's episode of Decisions, titled Change. Welcome, my name is Rachel Biogene, and with me in the studio is Pastor Efio Kobo. He's the resident pastor of Everyday Assembly and is also the convener of Pure Passions, a ministry for youth and teenagers here in Warri. Welcome, sir. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Okay, and also is with us here is Mrs. Deborah Olorunda. She's a nurse and also a minister from the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Good day, ma. It's good to have you. So, diving straight away to what we need to discuss. Like I said in the introduction, the fact that our laws don't support this,
Yes.
it now almost make it look as if we don't have homosexuals around here. I mean, the law says if you're homosexual, you're 14, you'll be jailed for 14 years. But the truth is, with the laws, these people, we have them everywhere, and because we think we don't have them, we've not made structured steps to help them when they come out. So how can parents be educated on homosexualism and the good and bad about it? How do we educate parents that this thing is real and some of their children are already into it, Pastor Faye?
All right. The reality is the world is changing, and now we're beginning to see a lot more different forms of sexual expression, sexual perversion. And I often say that we are in a sex-charged world. And now we see different things coming up. And the reality is that many of them are becoming even more expressive, as in they are boldly expressing their stand, even now, despite the laws that we have in our country. So we need to be aware that the world is changing. And for us as Christians, we recognize that in the last days, the Bible says these are some of the things we should expect, right? That there will be such homosexual behavior as it was in the days of Lot, and in the old times. So parents need to understand that these are certain things to look out for and begin to educate their children from an early age.
Yes. That's almost my next question, which I want you to say together. Sex education before was don't be with a boy, don't be with a girl, or this, but it was always girl and boy. So right about now, it's obvious that sex education has to be inclusive of don't be with a boy if you're a boy, don't be with a girl if you're a girl. How do you think parents can easily teach their children about sex?
Okay. Children are very inquisitive, very wise, and they ask a lot of questions. Well, there's no age limit actually to say at this age you start teaching. A child will ask you questions, or at most by 7, you should have started teaching a girl child, a boy child. And at that stage, you can actually start teaching them about same-sex and sexuality.
Okay.
In little bits, just little bits, like drop little information. Oh, a boy can come and want to touch you, your private part. Don't allow it. It's not right. Just little information. Then they would ask back and ask more, and then you give them more as much as you think they can take in.
Okay. Still on this, our TV stations are not helping. Our movies especially. There was a time where if you had to see porn, you had to go look for porn. Now porn is everywhere. Porn is even cartoons are beginning to show clips of things that I really don't. There was a time that they put up this Beauty and the Beast story, but it wasn't a male that kissed her come back. It was a female that kissed her. That's a subtle way of pushing, girl to girl kind of love and all of that. So how do we, do we stop children from watching, TV generally? Is that too drastic a step, Mr. Lorenda?
Okay. Well, like he said, change. Those days, it used to be like maybe on Sundays, children watch television there, there are particular days. But now, parents allow children to watch television to relieve them of the stress of the children because So, I won't say it's totally stopped, but like DSTV has put a guide where you can determine what your children watch and the other things that you can use to regulate it. But minus that, as much as there are some things that you won't know they are watching and you think it's safe for them to watch. When you see them, you now educate them that this thing, see why I said this thing is not right and this is not right, Because sometimes you might not be there, they might go somewhere else and watch something that you don't know about. You understand? So, television has put a regulation, that's okay. But as much as possible, give them information. That will help them because you can't be there wherever they are.
So how do we regulate the use, if not just TV, even the internet?
Internet, TV. I was just going to say that, I started off by saying that the world is changing. Now, the movie producers, cartoon producers, they have an audience that they're trying to impress, they're trying to attract. So you realize that every movie has a gay scene,
yes,
has a sex scene, has what do you call this? When a man thinks that he's a woman and a woman thinks that, yes, so they try to include all this into their movies, their cartoons, their whatever it is they're doing because they want to appeal to everybody. Now, when we see this kind of culture developing, right, it means that we need to be very sensitive what we allow our children watch. Right? Because many of these cartoons have many of these features. They're just hidden there. And our children are seeing these things and it's almost, it will seem as if everything is acceptable, yes. Because a child sees the TV as, this is life. Yeah. This is what it means to be, to live. So they don't question it. So it really becomes very important that we be very careful what we allow our children watch. For me, I often encourage people, stick with anything that will build your children spiritually. And the reality is that we have many Christian cartoons that can actually edify our children. Okay. But sometimes parents are not aware, so they just stick with DSTV. And the reality is that some of those cartoons might not be projecting homosexual behavior, but they pass across certain other things that eventually lead there. So I often just counsel, let's feed our children with things that are spiritual. From an early age, let's let them understand what it means to be a Christian, what God frowns at, what God is happy with, and how to conduct our life. Truth is, when we do that, there are some cartoons the children will see, and they tell you, Daddy, no, we shouldn't watch such things. Right? So I think it's a better way to
approach it. On this question, on this answer you just gave, how do you make these children not feel left out? Because they go to school and then their peers are talking about Ben 10 and Spider-Man, and then these are what they do not watch. So how do you help them not feel like they are missing out on something, Pastor Faye?
Yeah, it's a very simple thing to do. The reality is, for my own children, let me give an illustration. I did something funny, when they were growing. Oh, Daddy, why can't you watch Cinderella? And I said, Cinderella is not born again. And they laughed. But somehow, because I had explained to them what the salvation experience is all about and all that, they could relate with it a little bit. That's some extreme that parents don't necessarily need to get into anyway. But you see, if you make your children understand the difference between the life of God and the life of the world, I think it starts to help them, understand that there are going to be some conflicts as we grow. Okay. Some people are going to see things differently, but we understand why, and so we stick to what is right.
Okay. Mr. Lauren, you have some medical knowledge and all of that. So I'm going to ask, which is a very key question: is homosexuality a spiritual problem, a psychological problem, or a medical problem? I want to know.
Homosexuality, if we look at it, it's a spiritual problem.
Okay.
Because every sin, because this is sin. God made man, said he made them male and female. God made male and female for a purpose. He didn't just make man, and he didn't just make woman. He made them male and female so that they will come together. He said a man will leave his father and join with the woman, and they will become one. So it's not a man that is meant to leave a man, join with a man and become one. So it is a spiritual problem. Like every other sin is a spiritual problem. A man that is committing adultery, it's a spiritual thing.
So it's not a spiritual thing because it's just homosexuality. Okay.
But there is a mental base to it. A child that is not psychologically stable will easily be swayed, to it. Because most times the people that introduce to others go for children that are quiet, are not self-confident, and they feel those are people they could easily reach out to. Okay. So it's a spiritual problem, basically, because certainly the enemy wants to scatter the family, but there are some other things, mental, emotional.
Is it at all medical?
No.
So there's nothing in the biology of a man that twitches him to want to be with another man. Okay.
It's just the way a man wants to be with a woman. That's the way a man will say he wants to be with a man. Okay. It's emotions.
Okay. Pastor Faith.
All right. The Bible says, "As a man thinketh, so is he." I think to a great extent, there's a lot of brainwashing that is going on in the world today, both from social media, movies, and all that. So you see people getting things from an early age, getting things into their spirits, getting things into their minds. So before long, you see people having perspectives to life, right? A man grows up and is desiring another woman. Some other man grows up and is desiring another man. It's simply a function of what he has exposed his mind to in the course of growing up, right? So it actually begins as a mental, emotional problem, but eventually becomes spiritual. Because the more you yield to such things, the more you expose yourself to the spirits that actually promote such things. So at the end of the day, depending on what level the person is, you can actually grant the person help. Depending on how much he has yielded, yes, how deeply he has gone, yes. But like she rightly said, I also want to add this, that we must be careful not to make it seem as if homosexuality is
different kind of sin.
The man who is addicted to, or who commits adultery, or who is addicted to fornication and all that, you see, it's all in the same category. A person says, "Oh, I was born a homosexual." It's not true. I can also say I was born a fornicator, right? Because the reality is that every man was born with the nature of sin. So sin is what actually promotes those kinds of behavior. Jesus said that it is out of the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. Everything begins from the heart, from the very nature of sin that is within us. So that's where it starts. And depending on what we expose ourselves to, that's what will determine how much of it we express. So some of us in those days grew up with I saw some people with homosexual tendencies, but did not express it at all. Why? Because of the way society was then. So they kept it to themselves. Others grew up in other places where you could be free with it, express, watched a lot of things, and had the boldness to even venture into it.
So okay.
Yes, because of
society made it okay for them.
Exactly. So you see, for some it begins from the mental perspective, emotional perspective, but eventually as you yield to it, becomes a spiritual problem.
All right, we'll continue when we come back on the break. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're still watching Decisions. Before we went on the break, we were talking about homosexuality and how it starts, what we can do about it from the home. Let's go to the church. The church in a bit too. Why wouldn't there some churches that actually support homosexuality? We'll probably not just talk about them now.
Yes.
We'll just let them be. But the church, the normal church, so to speak, have left homosexuality as a topic. And the few ones that get to talk about it talk about it as a very serious sin, as a sin in a class on its own, and then rain condemnation. So what's the role of the church, and how best can the church handle homosexuality? We start with the pastor.
All right. I remember having a program once, and when we're done, someone came to me, a program to talk about sex, premarital sex, and all that for young people. And someone came to me and told me that, we didn't address any issue relating to this.
Okay.
And I was like, it never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And the reality for many pastors, it really doesn't cross our minds, because what we tend to see more of is, a guy is sleeping with a girl, or the girl is sleeping around and all that. And those are some of the things we try to resolve. But now, we're becoming a lot more aware, especially for those of us who are into teenage ministry and youth ministry, that this is one issue that has been going on for a while. And because nobody has been talking about it, it has grown to a very great extent right now. So my counsel would be that pastors need to understand a lot more of what is going on around. I encourage pastors now, go on social media, not necessarily for the purpose of going being social, but to have an understanding of what young people are going through. And you will be amazed the level of perversion that is going on in the world today. You will see that our young people are really under attack, right? Their minds are being bombarded with filthy things. And so we need to equip ourselves. We need to get the right scriptures to enlighten our young people concerning the truth, not by condemning them, not by making them feel as if they have missed it completely, but helping them understand what really all this is about and how to come out of it, right? Because like every other sin, homosexuality, like fornication, like masturbation, even pornography, addiction to pornography, these are things that people can come out from if they are equipped with the right information. So I believe it's the same thing with homosexuality.
Okay. Mrs. Ayoade.
The church has a great role to play, actually meant to. Because some of these things actually start in the church. You'll be shocked. Because some children that come maybe from a different environment into your local church would bring it in and I'm going for choir practice, and from there they introduce one child. I was actually attempted on from church, a church member.
Oh wow!
So I know what it's like. You just go and your parents allow you because they are supposedly Christians. That you're supposed to be safe with. But somehow, I just told myself, I will not continue with this. So we need education from the church. It should be something that, especially teenagers, not just the youths. The youths have actually outgrown the stage. By then, if someone is meant to,
they're already deep
into it. Right? It's the teen age, 11, 12. You need to educate them. And then parents also need to be aware of what their children are doing, where and how.
Okay. For teenagers, that means it should be part of their. I know churches have curriculum for teenagers. Yes. It should be part of their curriculum.
They should add it to what they teach, and then it should not be a condemnation. It should be condemned. Yes. Go ahead, please. If there's any of you amongst us, come and meet us for counseling. It should be something they should. And teenagers, they don't like people shouting at them. It's not the time you shout and all those ones not make any meaning. You won't help them. Let them come to you, then ask them, talk with them, talk with them. And
during the break, I was talking about how a friend almost got introduced into homosexuality and how he was a target because he was very quiet. But what I didn't say was the fact that it was actually a hooligan, so to speak. It was it was one that was really stubborn, that nobody wanted in the family, so to speak, because he was so stubborn. He got to a point where I think he had to go see his grandma, and then the grandma was shouting at him that his friends I'm sorry, it's just really so funny. It's not his friends that are making money, that are going out to carry, what pompon is, that's concrete, they call it pompon in Yoruba. And then there was a day they didn't see him. They're looking for him Monday evening. And when he came back, I'm sorry, he was the concrete. Now when they asked him what happened, he said the grandma said that his mates are making money, so he wanted to go and make money. So he was that kind of person. So I think because of so much the beat, the shout, the caution, he withdrew, became very quiet, and that's why he became a target. So how do we train children in such a way that they don't end up being targets, so to speak, that they can say, no, I don't, this thing you are bringing up to me, I think is wrong and I can't do it. How, Mr. Norman, how can we train children in such a way they should go that when, the issues of life face them, because we'll not be with them all the time, boarding schools, universities, or even choir practices, how do we train them to stand on their ground? Hallelujah.
Okay. Like the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should grow, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. There are lots of things we as parents do to our children that are not right, in the sense that they don't learn. For example, a child makes a mistake, and all you can do is shout, 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 and scream. The child does not understand why you're shouting. We need to have a relationship with our children. That even if it's like I say, it's normal for you to get angry sometimes.
Yeah.
But after that, call the child. After a while, just call the child. Do you know I was shouting at you? This and this and this and this.